Hey, alright, so second video of the series. So again, this series is kind of just about going over portfolio projects and giving a review that's tailored to basically helping aspiring developers get that first position. So it's really kind of just honing in on portfolio projects, making sure they're interesting, that they're showing information that the people viewing them are going to care about, and really getting people to think about like who's really looking at the portfolio and what their intent is when they visit it. So that's kind of what this review or the advice on the review is tailored towards. So with that said, let's dive on in. So with this, we have a project, a portfolio, I believe, from SP. I'm assuming S is Sparker. So let's go ahead and dive in. Oh, definitely saw that not working. You might want to fix that. But it looked like it was a redirect to a GitHub. So it might be something to change with your DNS, but you definitely don't want that to be the first thing that people see. Alright, so Stephen Parker, full stack web developer. It's a very minimal portfolio, but it's clean. I actualize things with, what the heck is actualize? You like solidify things? You form things? I'm actually gonna look up actualize. The fact that I'm even having to do this probably means you should get rid of the word actualize. Make a reality of, right, you're just, okay. So you create things with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and React. And I would be very, like, if that's going to be your first sentence, I mean, just use something very simple. I mean, my vocabulary is bad, but it's not that bad. Change the word actualize to something that is going to be easily readable. Steven, sorry. Sometimes what I do, I start talking and then I start thinking and doing my review in my head. But I think like something I noticed as I was kind of scrolling down, there's no reason for this giant amount of white space. Why? Are you just creating like... This feels like you created, I don't know, some container with a height that was based on your resolution. It's just an unnecessary amount of white space. That's fine. Like, I guess that's... So what I would do is, if you're going to try to catch someone's attention, and like, I love how simple this is. You're basically creating things with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and React. I like that you at least separated React out of this little 3-stack here. I like how simple it is, but there's just too much white space where you can create like an arrow that allows the user to jump down at least. That's an option, but I would at least even get rid of some of this white space and make this a little bit more, like if you just want this white big container above the fold and then you want your content, allow your content to flow underneath it, but it just like, there's extra white space that doesn't need to be here, and probably create like an arrow or something to jump the user down. Even if it's like an arrow down here, that'll kind of scroll the user down. I think that'd be neat. Bio, I'm a Portland, Oregon-based web developer who recently graduated from Thankful Block Web Development Track. I had a developer I worked with that moved to Portland. He loves it. My passion lies in creating pixel-perfect experiences that serve every type of user, no matter their ability, interest, or choice of device. All right, we'll put that to the test. Due to the ever-changing terrain of the... Is that how you spell terrain? Why am I being so picky with these words? No, it's Terrain. Spell check. There's no way that word exists as is. Spell check. You're about me. Believe that an excellent web developer must take an always learning approach. That's good. Absolutely. It's a big thing for employers are going to care about. In addition to coding, I'm a creative whose interests include music, photography, and audio engineering. That's pretty cool. I like that you guys continue to add like little personal things about you. Had the pleasure of performing music in many special settings all over the world. That's cool. Maybe you handle pressure well. Sharing collaborative input with a team of other professionals in management during a promotion. That's cool. That feels like you handle stress and pressure well, which I'm sure performing brings. So, okay, then you have this unnecessary amount of white space here. Portfolio, music query, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, jQuery. I appreciate the tags. You have your GitHub repository and you have your live demo. I think those are kind of the two main things. It's an app that allows you to test your music knowledge around rock and heavy metal artists. I'm sure you had fun with that, given your background. Test your knowledge now and see if you can get a perfect score. Okay, I really like this call to action. Like, that's kind of getting the user to dive into one of your projects to try it out. Genrify allows you to search Spotify for a specific genre and return the top artists. Okay, it's very music focused. I wonder if you have another project, but I would branch out of music a little bit. Something to think about is being able to show, I guess, like, a valuable portfolio is going to solve different problems potentially for different industries. And I think if you have a portfolio of like 4 or 5 different projects all focused on music, I mean, I think your portfolio is going to speak to maybe someone that has a music app and needs developers for it, but you're starting to limit the audience that are going to immediately be able to say, hey, he probably worked on something that's going to be useful to our company, or he solved a problem that we've had to solve or we're trying to solve. And when you really just focus on nothing but music, you do limit your audience and you limit the potential for employers to be able to connect your projects with what they're working on, which is a very important piece that will bring value to your portfolio. So branch out just a little bit. Contact. Okay. So GitHub, Mail, and LinkedIn. Okay, I like it. I mean, it's really simple. It's clean. I actually like how simple it is. Push your bio down. Honestly, your portfolio is more important. I think your projects are going to be more important. They're going to want to take a look at the code, and depending on who your audience is, like, these 2 links are going to be probably your most important links on your portfolio. So these look like external links. Bio. I feel like portfolio. Okay, never mind. You have your content. Okay. Okay, this is your GitHub, your LinkedIn, and then your contact. But your contact is the header for all three of your social media links or your contact links. I don't know. What do you put? Email, mail. I don't think it'd hurt to put a little icon next to these social media icon. These links. I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, this is just me experimenting, but like maybe kind of like depending on, like, I know different social media have like different social media guidelines for using their logos, but if you can, like, maybe a faded here. What happens when you click this? It doesn't actually stay there. It's kind of hard to do with you definitely can do it, but I think that's could be a little tricky to do with a one-page website. But I don't know. I was thinking like social media icon that's maybe grayed out or something like that, and then you have if you do have this selected, maybe a general icon next to these two glow. Not glow, but they're just more pronounced. They get a little bit darker, and maybe these darken up, like, depending on, like, whatever you click. But that would only be, like, an on-click, because then you're probably going to navigate to whatever these social media links are. I don't know. Actually, forget that idea. I think just, like, having the contact here, which is probably your... Oh... What do you know? All right, remember, we do these reviews raw. I'm way off. I don't know if I would put these up at the top. You kind of have sections of your website. So you have your bio, portfolio, your contact, and then this 2 social media links kind of in the middle. I would expect like these to be sections, but I know they're not. What you can potentially do, and I see this a lot, is you can have kind of like your section links here and then maybe like social media icons to the right of them. But I think distinguishing that from what appears to be the sections of your website might help. That could be getting really picky. But either way, like the biggest problem I have with this is you just have an unnecessary amount of white space. They should not have to scroll down to see this. Like you have very, very little content. That's not a bad thing. You just have an excessive amount of white space for this content. Other than that, it's readable. I like the left align. I think it looks good. It's more readable. Maybe even create a tiny bit of line space here, just a little bit more. Yeah. Let's check out mobile. I don't know why you colored HTML. I just noticed that. I think, so what you're doing when you choose, and you're using this very scarcely, which can be a very good thing, but I don't think there's any reason to emphasize HTML here. Like, to me, you're drawing people's eyes to HTML. Why? Is it just to put a little color into the website? Is it because you know HTML the best? Like, to me, there's no reason to draw the user's attention to this. Yeah, more than anything else. I don't know, maybe if you wanted to stick with the word actualize, maybe that could actually be, I don't know, a link that has a little pop-up or a little tidbit that is colored orange that maybe pulls up your development process and how you go from having an idea to implementation. That would be cool, and I think that would be a scenario in which you could emphasize this word. I don't know, they're all kind of slightly different colors. To me, this stands out when it doesn't need to stand out. And see, this is actually nice. Like, you're not, I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't do the same thing if you wanted the white space of, like, above the fold. I don't think you need to. But I actually like how there's limited space here. And you go right into the next section. You're not making... Oh, that'd be terrible. That'd be a terrible experience on mobile to have someone swipe all the way down. It's definitely more scrolling on mobile if you did the same thing as you did with desktop. Okay, so I'm going to give you the opposite advice here. I would actually create a little bit more space. Because if you look at, like, your portfolio project that ends here has less space. So it actually ends here, but it has less space with the next section than it does with the header between the kind of like little about or blurb that is with the header. This should be less space than this. Use more space to kind of create that separator between your portfolio projects. So I think, like, just keep in mind, typically, I think this is kind of just I think spacing in general is just a good thing to Google and figure out how other people are doing it. But I think you kind of get what I mean. So reduce the amount of space in certain sections, increase the amount of space between larger sections. GitHub contact. Why do you need this down here? So what you're thinking is, what? Contact, okay. shoot. So that's your email. Your contact link on mobile goes to your email instead of the contact section. I think that's misleading, and I think even people kind of like scrolling down, seeing your contacts section, and then scrolling up, and they're like, "Hey, I actually want to go to his LinkedIn. I'm going to click contact," and then opening up your email client on that. When on desktop, you can't have different actions between desktop and mobile users are going to be looking for different things. If you're going to have a header section of contact, I would expect that contact section to go to whatever it matches with the header. So I would actually have it go down to this section. If they want your email, they can grab it from here. And then GitHub, I don't know why you are focused on that, having that as a link. In my opinion, I think it's actually kind of smart that you want people to you want people to explore your code, and I think that's why you have this. I think they're going to be more interested in looking at your projects, looking at some of the languages maybe. I think that's kind of a neat touch, but more importantly, like what problem did they solve, than actually diving into the code right away. Even senior developers and CTOs, I think they're going to try to match that up before they even dive into the code. So this is less relevant. I like having a contact button even at the bottom. That's fine. This is probably going to be more relevant. Okay. What else? You bring a little color here into your portfolio projects. Yikes, that's really hard on the eyes. HTML, CSS, React. Why not capitalize these? Like you did jQuery, I guess. You didn't have that included. Lowercase brings less emphasis, and I think like your project should get the most emphasis. You see some spacing issues right here. Actually, so this is, oh my god. So I actually completely confused the division of your portfolio projects, and your portfolio projects end here, and I think this is kind of a good example of why you should adjust some of the spacing, right? Am I just completely insane? Your live demo is part, so that's going to be part of Music Query. And if we go back to this, it's like I don't even know where the second project starts and where the first one ends. Work on that division a little bit. Cool. I do like that animation. I really like that animation. It's really simple and it's beautiful. Either way, I think this is a very minimalist site. I think minimalism works very well for portfolios. I like it. I like what you've done. I like the colors you've chosen. Overall, your contrast is good. Spacing is ridiculous. We talked about that. Maybe prioritizing certain links over others in your navigation. And we talked about kind of like the functionality of those links and what they do, especially on mobile. Mobile was kind of a confusing experience. I guess you prioritized emailing you as your contacts. Let them decide. Cool. That's it. I know you're still kind of building out projects for your portfolio. This looks really cool. I hope you're enjoying React. I love seeing that. I think that makes an aspiring developer very marketable, especially if you're going to be focusing on the front end. But overall, a really simple, clean design, so I'm excited to see what you do with it. Awesome job.